Just a couple houses from mine lies a small, rundown building right next to the main road, but surrounded by hedges, so you have to be on the walkways to be able to see it. Even with its central placement between a major store, the road, and a couple houses in a more populated area of my town, it has a very different feel from everything around it. It's small, but has its own garden and a parking spot where there is always a red Volvo that looks just as old as the house. I always walk my dog past this house, but I never get used to the feeling that something is so horribly off about it. The curtains are always drawn, and the only things I've seen inside it were a couple of bottles of shampoo placed in the windowsill in what I would assume is the bathroom, but I can't really tell because it has one of those narrow high-up windows that keep people from seeing into the room as you're on the toilet or in the shower. Anyways, it was on one of these walks with my dog that I really began to notice something was weird. My dog is a golden retriever, but he's not very well trained. So even though he mostly follows orders, he kind of just does what he wants to. And this time, he wanted to suddenly run into the garden of this house and start digging behind it, close to the hedge. Of course, I ran after the rascal. Wouldn't want whoever lived there to come and yell at me. I grabbed his leash and tried forcefully dragging him away. He put up a fight, but I eventually managed to drag him away from the little hole he dug in the ground. Strangely, the dirt in the hole had a weird color to it, almost reddish, maybe. That's when I saw that there was a piece of fabric under the ground. It looked almost like a piece of a shirt. I contemplated the meaning of this, but was not going to risk anyone finding out, so I covered the hole with dirt as well as I could, and I left hurriedly with my dog. Even if the cloth didn't directly mean there was a dead body under there, I knew as soon as the smell hit me that there was something under there that had been alive, but was not anymore. I think we can all recognize the smell of rotting flesh and blood. It's unmistakable, even if mixed with the smell of dirt. I still walk that same path with my dog, but I'm always cautious in that particular segment of it. Another thing about the house is that it's between my house and the beach. So one summer afternoon, I walked home from a day of volleyball and swimming in the ocean. I passed the house, but noticed there was something different about the Volvo. I'd never before seen anyone on that plot of land before, except for myself, my dog, and possibly whatever or whoever was buried behind the house. Therefore, I was surprised to see the headlights of the car were on, and the engine was humming. I was sure there lived someone in the tiny old house, but never once had I seen them. The thing that was extra peculiar was that there was no one inside the old car. I looked thoroughly at each individual seat, but saw no one. Completely weirded out, I began speed walking away from there. I can swear that I didn't hear anyone walking to the car after that. Actually, there was no sound apart from the humming of the engine, and yet as soon as I rounded a corner, the car sped off. There is no actual driveway from the house to the main road, so in order to get there, you have to do a full U-turn on the walkway, which should be a difficult and precise ordeal. And yet, this car just sped off, and I just got to glimpse the back of the car in its quick and to precise drive out onto the main road. All I could notice was the paint that was peeled off at multiple places. I never got to see who was driving the thing. Fast forward to late autumn, and I walked countless times past that same red Volvo, which had been parked again right where it always had been before. I never saw it move again after that. But this particular day, I heard something from inside. It was someone showering, proof that there lived someone in there. After all, as soon as I stopped, caught off guard by the sound, the shower was turned off, as if in response to my reaction. And then there was a tap on the window, the high and narrow one that connected to the bathroom. I fixed my gaze on it and saw something. Not someone, something. Although you could mistake the contours of this face to be human, it was lacking key features like eyes and a mouth. All it had were a pair of nostrils and slight depressions in its grayish skin where the eye sockets should have been. It was tall, too, not straining at all to look out of the high window. You'd need to be at least 8 feet to see out of that window. Maybe even more. The worst part, however, wasn't the unmoving face of the thing. It was its hand, unnaturally long and skinny fingers who made a slow waving motion as if to say hello. It was almost welcoming, as if it wanted me to enter its decrepit home. I had no plans to do so. I ran as fast as I could away, looking back only once to see it was gone from the high window. The curtains of the window that was now facing me had been drawn away, and I saw the entire body of the thing. The skin on its body was like a worm, wrinkly and loose. Its body was plump, but not like any fat human would be. It had a neck that was far too long. Its large, skinny hand had a finger placed over its non-existent mouth in a hushing gesture, and the last thing I noticed was the soil behind its house was moving. I turned the corner and decided to never walk past that house at late hours again. I would go on to have frequent nightmares about this creature. It would always be making that same gesture. It wanted me to keep quiet about something, and so I did for a long while. I told no one about any of this until now, but I feel like people should know. What if the person buried behind the house became another one of those things? Or what if it had taken another victim, alive? Regardless of what that thing was, or what happened that evening, I believe it's something horrible. I'm staying away from that old house as much as I can from now on. Be aware of houses that are too small and too old, who give off strange feelings, and who feel wrong to you without giving you a clue why. There are things that live amongst us even in plain sight, and you do not want to be the next to lie dead under their soil.